1977, George Lucas formed a legacy.
The Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
Inspired by mythology, his saga has become a passion for many.
Feel the Force around you.
His legend has become our story.
It's true. All
one of resistance.
we are the spark that'll light the fire that'll burn the First Order down.
Rebellion.
Rebellion is built on hope.
And redemption.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
This is Star Wars Reactions.
Remember, the Force will be with you. Always.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Star Wars Reactions, episode 39, and we got a fun show filled with for you today. So we're not going to waste any time. We're just going to go ahead and get everything going. My name is Aaron Harris, and joining me, as always, he is my co-host, the man with the most, the David Motters. David, what's up, brother?
Hey, man. What's up is I'm on with you, and we're doing another episode of Star Wars Reactions, and as always, I am ready to react.
Excellent. Well, we got a lot going on, man. It's been a couple of weeks since we recorded. I know we've had a lot going on. Everything going good with your family?
So far, so good, yes. But I know on Twitter you've put some stuff on there, and I've responded, and others have. So you've really kind of had more than me lately, buddy.
Yeah, it's been a crazy couple of weeks for me, especially this past week has been absolutely nuts. And I mean, if y'all follow me on my personal Twitter, y'all know that my grandmother is sick, and we've been told she's not going to make it much longer. So I ended up taking a whirlwind trip from Florida to Indiana. First time I've been up in Indiana in, 13 years. My daughter was just a baby last time I went, barely learning how to walk last time I went up there. And not meaning I haven't seen my grandmother in that long, because I only saw her, the last time I saw her was about 5 years ago, when she came down to visit. But got to go up and see her and visit and pretty much say our goodbyes. And I know a lot of people reached out online, and I appreciate that, and I thank you very much. It's been a rough week, that's for sure. And glad to be home, glad to be with family again, and glad to be able to record and talk some Star Wars, because it's been a lot going on, especially today, man. How, we sit here, we normally record our shows, and usually within 24 hours of us recording our shows, something huge breaks. Not today. Yeah. Not today. Today we had our recording scheduled and everything, and they broke news today. Yes, I mean, this is great. Yesterday and Monday and Tuesday, we're recording this. What is today? Today's the 30th, Tuesday, the 30th of March. So yesterday, Monday, and today, Tuesday, they broke a whole bunch of stuff, and we're going to go through it real quick before we get into our topic for this week's conversation. And discussion. So, looking at the news, the first piece of news that broke yesterday when Disney announced and Lucasfilm announced the new Kenobi, Obi-Wan Kenobi show is coming out, is starting production next month. And they gave us a cast list, which, of course, includes Ewan McGregor, which we all knew as Obi-Wan. Hayden Christensen is returning. Of course, Darth Vader. We did get confirmation, though, that Joel Edgerton and Bonnie Picey will be back. Owen and Beru, which leads me to believe that we might see young Luke. Maybe.
Right, yeah. I've heard some people talking about Luke would be just nothing set in stone, that maybe Kenobi is set 8 years before A New Hope. Luke's 19 in A New Hope, 18, 19.
Yeah.
So it'd be about 10, 11 at this time. So yeah.
Yeah, and this cast list is nobody that young, so whoever's going to be playing Luke has not been announced yet. If which I'm sure they have to have somebody playing Luke.
Right.
It wouldn't be right if they didn't. But to go through the rest of this cast, we have Moses Ingram, Kumal Nanjiani, Indira Varma, Rupert Friend, O'Shea Jackson Jr., Sung Kang, Simone Kessel, and Benny Safdie.
Yeah, and I don't know any of them. Do you?
Yeah, I'm actually looking somebody up real quick because I think I recognize one of those names. I just want to see if I am right or not.
Yeah.
It helps if I spell correctly. Let's see here. Indira Varma. I recognize the name and I recognize the face. I'm trying to figure out from where. So far, I haven't seen anything. Yeah, she was from Game of Thrones. That's why I recognized her.
Oh.
She played Ilaria Sand in Game of Thrones. That's how I recognized her. Okay. There we go. Perfect. And I know from one of my friends on Twitter, that O'Shea Jackson Jr. is the is the son of actually. I want to say they said it was Ice-T, the actor, rapper.
Which one? I am looking at all the
O'Shea.
Oh, O'Shea
Jackson Jr.
Okay, I can see that.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just looking at, like I said, the ones I recognize was Joel Edgerton, Bonnie Peasy, it looks like, and of course Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, but none of the others do I know, which is good. I don't mind that. I like that. Then I don't have any preconceived notions, about them,
Yeah. So it's a lot of great. It's a great cast. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. So, but that's coming up. They start filming next month. They said they get April, and I haven't seen it confirmed anywhere, but from what I understand, from what a couple of people I've seen said, it's only going to be a 1-season special event, and it's only going to be 6 one-hour episodes. Which, when you think about it, originally they were always talking about a Kenobi movie. So you get a 2-hour movie. With this, we're getting 6 one-hour episodes. We're getting a trilogy.
Right.
So
it's a lot. Yeah.
Pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait for Kenobi. I love Obi-Wan. He is by far, next to Chopper, my favorite character from Star Wars. I love that. I love Obi-Wan, and I love that droid. Oh my gosh, I love it. Y'all know I love Obi-Wan or Chopper. So, all right. And the other news today, and I texted you as soon as I saw this hit my phone. I actually texted you the link before I even watched it. Actually, I was sitting at my desk working, and all of a sudden I got the notification on my phone, and I was going, oh God. I was trying to figure out how to unlock my phone, and it wasn't unlocking, and I was so freaking out. But we got the full 2-minute trailer for the upcoming Bad Batch series. Wicked, man. I tell you.
Yeah.
Dude, that thing was incredible. And if you have not seen this trailer, y'all need to stop and watch this trailer. It is amazing. You can find it anywhere. It's on our Twitter page. It's on our Facebook page. You can go to YouTube and look for it. It is, you can't miss it. If you follow anybody Star Wars on any social media, you have passed links for this trailer.
Right.
It is awesome. And it did give us a confirmation of the plot, which pretty much the story will be they are on the run. That Tarkin has ordered their termination, and they are on the run because they are, quote unquote, uncontrollable. They don't follow orders well. And they are on the run being hunted. I didn't quite catch whether or not Fennec Shan is hunting them or if she's helping them. But we see Fennec Shan in the trailer, and we see Captain Rex, which made me really lose my mind when I saw Rex. And I think that's why I missed the second person in there, which you caught.
Yeah.
And I didn't. I throw that out there. David caught this one. I didn't.
Yeah.
Who's the one that you caught, Dave?
Saw Gerrera.
It's right, folks. We got a young Saw Gerrera that's also going to make an appearance in the Bad Batch. And what's great about it is Andrew Kashino, who actually voiced young Saw in the Clone Wars, is reprising his role as a younger, slightly older Saw, but younger than, Rebels and Rogue One Saw. Oh. So that was incredible to see. We get to see, you get confirmation Echo is full-fledged member of Bad Batch now. And he's looking great in that red and black armor.
Yeah. Echo, it's so cool to see him thriving, Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Especially after all he went through. To see him thriving, a part of the team. I even think we see a smile on his face at one point, and some laughing in this trailer, which is perfect. It's what he needs. And I'm sure we'll have multiple psychology corners on that when it rolls out.
Oh, yeah. Well, you and I covered those episodes of The Bad Batch, and it was just so heart-wrenchingly awesome when Rex encouraged him to go with them, and he did, and he salutes, and I'm like losing it, So it was just incredible. And so to see him continuing on, it's so cool to see Echo's story continue, these characters that we love.
Exactly. And probably I will say, the one question that I got from the trailer is we get to see a kid. And, because for some reason my YouTube was giving me captions, I was able to determine that the kid's name is Omega. But this kid is basically, meets the Bad Batch, and knows who the Bad Batch is, and basically is on the run with the Bad Batch. And the question everybody's asking is, who's the kid?
Right.
I mean, we get very little details.
I'll say this. I really like what you said. I didn't even, because I didn't have the captioning on mine. And, as soon as you said that, I was like, whoa. Share what you said, because I thought it was, and I saw that you had followed up on a tweet for one of our good friends, Adam Bray, Star Wars author, Marvel author extraordinaire, and he responded to yours and said he was wondering the same thing, right?
Yeah, it sure did. And basically what I said, once I saw that the kid's name was Omega, and of course they meet Omega at, they're on Kamino, actually. They're on Kamino. We actually see Kaminos. We see the cloners from Kamino. It's one of them cloners. We get to see them. They're on Kamino, and we actually get to see them in the fighting arena that we saw the clone cadets fight in that arc in the Clone Wars, when we saw Fives and them when they were just cadets. So there's a lot of walking down memory lane, but this kid got me thinking, especially when I saw their name was Omega. And we know after the Clone Wars, they don't use clones anymore. They start recruiting people from
Right.
the citizens.
Yep.
And it kind of got me wondering if Omega is the last clone to essentially roll off the line. The final one, the final copy of Jango. It's a little offbeat because the kid's a little blonde. He's got all the facial structures there that tells me it could be a clone, but the hair is off and there's just something off about it, which makes me think Omega, the final copy. And I know, during the Clone Wars, that was something that came up about the degradation of the DNA. Eventually it was degrading. They weren't sure how many more copies of the clones they could keep going. So it would make sense,
Yeah.
there could be some differences at that point. And we know the clones all develop their own different personalities. Some, they're not all carbon copies. I mean, look at Rex. Rex had some blonde hair at some point, and the others have other designed hair, and it's all over the place. So I'm leaning toward the fact, and it's my personal belief, and until the show confirms it, we won't know, that Omega is the last clone ever created.
Yeah, I'm going with you. As soon as you said it, I was like, whoa, that mind blown. I didn't even think about it. And man, I tell you, sometimes you're like, you come up with some stuff and I'm like, man, I love that. And even if it turns out to not be that, I still like it.
Yeah, I like the idea. I think it will make a great story. Because at that point, because we know the premise is going to be they're being hunted to be destroyed, and we know that, so it's going to have a very almost like an A-Team feel to it. This is like Star Wars meets A-Team, which I love the A-Team growing up. It's going to be a lot of fun, and to have this child running with them, it'd be almost like they're protecting their legacy. This is the final clone. This is that child is their legacy at that point. It is their future. That's how they will live going forward. So all their brothers, even though they're oddball clones, Clone Force 99 is, all their brothers, their line ends with this child. And it's interesting to see. I just really want to see who this child is. Let's just put it like that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why they revealed it now, just to keep the interest high here. Just a little over a month out. A little over a month. May 4th.
May 4th. It'll be here before you know it. May 4th is coming up. So I am totally stoked for that. It's going to be a great show there on Disney Plus. If you have not ordered it yet, if you don't have Disney Plus, grab Disney Plus, man. You don't want to miss this. It is coming before you know it. Oh, so good. So good. So, and we're not far off from and not off topic, okay, I am shifting gears. Who cares? We're not far off from the second Thrawn Ascendancy novel coming out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's coming. The Greater Good book is on its way. Released coming out April 27th.
I know, and then after that, it's more High Republic.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yes, it is. And did you finish Victory's Price?
No. In fact,
my gosh.
I know that I think yesterday you were at like 2 hours, 15 minutes. I'm down to 3 hours, 25 minutes. So I'm right there. I'm right in the thick of it. And I can't wait to get it done. And of course, you and I are wanting to do a whole, Alphabet Squadron trilogy, as well as TIE Fighter comic review. And so that's why I'll mention that book a bit here as we go through our topic. And but obviously I have a lot more to say about it than what we'll say tonight, because there's a number of books we want to talk about tonight, right, my brother?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. There's going to be a lot to discuss with the topic, but I will just say this: I did finish it, and I absolutely loved it.
Oh, why do you do this to me?
I,
Oh
I
man.
absolutely loved it.
Oh,
It was the perfect ending to that trilogy,
oh,
and it was great. It was really good. It did not Things did not play out the way I anticipated, and which I like, and something that they were kind of hinting at was freaking me out and did not come to pass. So I was happy about that. So I'll just leave it at that till you finish it, just to,
well,
wet your
I'll say,
whistle a little bit.
well, I'll say this right now. I'm completely nervous. I'm like, who's gonna die? Who's not gonna die? And how is this gonna end? And I'm like, oh my gosh. Alexander Freed has got me nervous on the edge of my seat here as I come into the home stretch. Um, but this is a 460 page book, and
Hmm.
I've been listening to it on Audible, and oh my gosh, has it helped save my eyes? So, um, but I've really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
Oh, absolutely. It's good. It's good. So what we're going to do, we got a great topic to discuss today. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to begin our discussion, and we'll let you know what it's about too. So we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Aaron and David here, Star Wars Reactions. We are going to start our discussion for this episode for this week. And basically, we're sitting back and we are looking at, because there have been so many books that have come out. From the expanded universe, which is now the Legends, from the new canon that has started since they flipped everything to Legends. I mean, there's so much books, and there's so many great books out there that we just wanted to sit back and take a look at the books and see and go and kind of discuss what our favorites are. Something different for this episode, just something easy, something fun. We may introduce you to something that you haven't read yet that you may get interested in reading, and we may learn something new. Who knows? So, well, we each got a list of our top 5 books, our favorites. Then we also have some honorable mentions, which I will say my honorable mention list is a lot longer than David's.
I love everything on your honorable mentions, and I'm like, oh wait, I got to add more. I actually was going to have 2, then I put 3, then I looked at yours, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need those on my honorable mentions.
And I had to force myself to stop.
Right. It's tough. It's tough.
It is. And here's the criteria we put in place when we decided to do this. We're looking at books. We're not looking at, the books we're looking at novels, story novels. We're not looking at, like The Art of Star Wars or behind the scenes of The Mandalorian. We're not looking at those kinds of books. We're looking at the actual stories that tell a story, it doesn't matter if it's Legends or if it's canon. It is all fair game. What are our favorite books? I know you and we've discussed this before. We don't have a lot of exposure to what is now called the Legends line, or the expanded universe as it used to be called, just because of what was going on in our lives when those books were coming out. So we don't have a lot of exposure. I think I have a little bit more exposure to the EU than you, but it's all fair game in this, and it's great. We got had a couple people respond to us when I put the post up there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to go through, and we are going to discuss. So let's start with our list. What would your number 5 be, Dave?
Yeah, my number 5. Are we going 5 to 1? Like number 1 is our favorite of the top 5.
Yeah.
Okay. So number 5 for me would be A New Dawn. Ironically, that was really the start of what was considered, new canon or canon. Aaron and I reviewed this, I don't know how long ago, but it's such a great book by John Jackson Miller and introduces some of Aaron and I's favorite characters from a series we covered, Star Wars Rebels. But, just getting to meet Kanan and Hera in this book was great. And I absolutely loved covering it with you, Aaron. And even to this day, I really, really enjoyed it. I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at all my Wars novels on my bookshelf, but there's my number 5. Absolutely love it. Love John Jackson Miller stuff.
Oh, I love John Jackson Miller too. He's an awesome guy. Matter of fact, I met him at Celebration. Actually, I met him while I had a broken hand. Remember I broke my hand at Celebration?
Yes,
when I was walking to the car, I passed him in the hotel. He was heading back to the convention floor. I was like, "Hey, you're John Jackson Miller." And he tried to, I'm like, yeah. And he went to shake my hand, and I had to give him the other hand because the other hand was broke. So to this day, I don't think he realized that because I never mentioned it. I just kind of had it pulled up tight against my body. But New Dawn was actually my number 1.
Yes, I see it there.
New Dawn is my number 1. Mainly, everybody knows I love Rebels. What got me started in podcasting was when I did Rebels reactions back in the day when a part of the Coffee with Kenobi family back in those glory days there. That was a lot of fun. I loved Rebels. I was very passionate about Rebels, and we did review this book on reactions on Rebels reactions back then. And I want to say it was Randy Therio joined us for that.
Did we have Randy or did we have Gary? I was trying to remember. I'd have to
go back and look. I think it was Randy because it was a book. I think it was because it was the book. It was Randy. I'd have to double check though. Now that you say Gary, you got me second guessing myself. So
right.
I don't know. I'll have to find my show notes on that and find out. But yeah, that was just a lot of fun to do. And Rebels, as passionate as Rebels, getting the story of how Kanan met Hera and how they got together and seeing that story, it fit perfectly as an introduction to the show because it came out about right before Rebels was released.
Yeah.
So it was kind of they release all these books, Journey to the Force Awakens, this was our journey to Rebels. Essentially what it was.
Well said. Yes.
And I loved it. It was just a awesome story. Awesome story. So that was, your number 5 was my number 1. My number 5 actually was Light of the Jedi, which is the first novel of the High Republic series. That was just a lot of fun. Charles Soule did an incredible job in that book, just telling the story, introducing us to this new characters, to this new world. And the way it was written, it immediately grabbed my attention and just drug me into this time period we had not seen before. And it kept me through the whole book. And that's why I loved it. So Light of the Jedi is my number 5. Number four for me is Master and Apprentice. I loved Master and Apprentice. Obi-Wan Kenobi is one of my favorite characters. I said that earlier in the show. So when this book was announced, I knew this was a absolute 100% must read for me. So Master and Apprentice is my number 4. I love that story of Qui-Gon and Kenobi and their mission there. To me, it just added a nice insight into their relationship. So, what is your number 4, David?
My number 4 is Dark Disciple by Christy Golden. I just really, really enjoyed this, and in fact, I just, it was based on, unused scripts for the Clone Wars. and it's just so well done. And of course, as I'm reading the whole thing, I'm just, of course, so wanted those to be made into episodes, just like we got last year at this time as they wrapped up Clone Wars Season 7. These would have been incredible as well, but she did a great job taking those and just making it come alive, and just seeing that relationship between Asajj Ventress and Quinlan Vos, getting more of him. Obviously we see him in the Clone Wars very briefly, I guess, right? A millisecond in the Phantom Menace. But just really enjoyed how she did that. It was just so fun.
Well, I got to say, I do have a confession. I have not read that one yet.
I think that was one that you and I have been talking about that back in the day about getting into that.
It's been on my list. Matter of fact, it's in my Audible wish list right now. And actually, I was looking at it the other day, thinking, I need to, because I finished Victory's Price, and I'm sitting there going, I need something new. I need something new. And I was scrolling through my wish list and scrolling through, and I saw that one, and I was looking at it, I'm like, I need to pull the trigger on this one and just go ahead and do it. Then I'm like, no, I really want to save my credits because Thrawn's coming out soon. And now I just realized Thrawn is at the end of April, not the beginning of April. So I'll probably go ahead and download it.
Yeah.
Probably tonight when we're done.
Oh, you'll enjoy it, buddy. There's no question.
I'm very interested. All I've heard is great things about that book. So I'm interested to see. So, very cool, very cool. Our number 3, we actually have the same book for number 3. Did you notice that?
We do.
And this is one that I actually read because of you too. We talked about it, and I was like, the thing is, I had it in paperback, and it had been sitting on my shelf. Because I got it at a sale. I was at a bookstore, and they were having a sale where they just had a stack of books on the table, and it's like 3 for like $10 or something like that. So I grabbed it. I grabbed Catalyst, and I grabbed another one, not Star Wars related, but this one was one that, and I never read it. I honestly never cracked the cover to read it. And after we had a discussion about it, I was like, you know what? I really need just to break down and read this. And I did, and I was enthralled by this book. I think it was absolutely incredible. You want to tell them what it is?
Yeah, I mean, it's this is by Claudia Gray, and people will notice a pattern in my top 3 books. Hint, hint, they're all by Claudia Gray. She does such a masterful job here of she writes Leia so well, and it really discusses Leia's efforts within the New Republic, and then of course there's the massive reveal during this process. What's that?
You didn't say the name.
The massive reveal in this book, you mean?
No, the name of the book. You never said the name of the book.
Oh, Bloodline.
There we go.
Oh, sorry. Did you? Okay. Oh, I don't know if I had a Carabas moment here. No, you and I said, yeah, it's we both have it as our number 3, Bloodline.
Yeah, I never said the name. I turned it over to you to say the name.
Oh, forgive me. Carabas.
Love it. Carabas.
Chalk it up as a Carabas. No, Bloodline. In fact, I'm looking at it right now. On my like again in my bookshelves here, and I literally now want to go back and actually get it on Audible. I read it hardcover. I've got it right there. I read it cover to cover. I want to go through it again, but like I was mentioning, it's just such a masterful job of writing Leia, and it just feels like Leia, the Leia that we see in The Force Awakens, and I just visualize this book absolutely, occurring, prior to The Force Awakens, and then just this huge reveal that her father is Vader and what that does, And it was just, I guess after Return of the Jedi, you're not. I didn't think about it. I didn't think about her going on, and do people find that out about Luke and Leia? And so when Claudia Gray does that in the book, I'm like, wow, what a great way that she does it. And I do believe, I think, if I remember this correctly, nobody hold me to this, but I think a couple of episodes ago on Coffee with Kenobi, I think Dan Z said that Bloodline is his favorite of all canon or canon novels. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I believe that's correct. Dan, correct us on the next episode if that's wrong, but I think he did say that was his favorite.
Well, definitely is a great one. I mean, I love it. What I loved about this episode was about this book was the fact that it was a story of Leia having to face the demons of who she was. I mean, she's the daughter of Vader, and it was very fun to see. Or it wasn't very fun, but it was very revealing to the character as she dealt with that. And she actually dealt with that in some of the expanded universe books too, which were all really good and well written. But this one takes it to another level with her involvement in the government and how it played out in the Senate with Mon Mothma and the fellow senators. It just, it was good. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. So, all right. So we have just a couple left in our list. And before we go any further, like I said, we did get some messages as to what people liked and didn't like. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in some of our comments here. Our friends over at Streaming with the Mouse, which our pal Cameron co-host, commented that his favorites were Light of the Jedi, Bloodlines, and From a Certain Point of View, the New Hope version.
Nice. All right.
So that was those were his favorites. Then over on that was left there on Instagram. Then over on Twitter, our pal Rural Farm Boy says he loves them all. So this is exactly what he said. I love them all. So I'll say the last one, and guys, I'm a listener. I listened to the audiobook of Victory's Price. So that's currently Rural Farm Boy's favorite, which I can't say I blame him. It was a great book. So you really got to finish that one, Dave. We got to talk about that one, man. Oh. I can't wait for you to finish that one.
Ooh.
So good. So good. All right. So we're dwindling down here to the bottom of our list. We are going to do our number 2 book. Number 2, our second favorite book. And for me, actually, David, you go first. What's your second book? Number 2 on your list?
Yeah, I was going to talk about it a few minutes ago, but I thought, well, let me just wait. We'll go in the order. My number 2 was your number 4, Master and Apprentice.
Okay.
Again by Claudia Gray. Read this one again before I had Audible. Read it cover to cover, and again, the way that she wrote this, buddy. And you've mentioned it, just how neat it is to hear, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon interacting. But the ways that she was able to kind of interweave, the stuff with Dooku and trying to figure out, what do the prophecies say? Should they be looking at those things? It's so well done, and I love how she wrote some of those parts. Some of the stuff that was kind of being revealed in some of the holocrons and stuff like that. And now, gosh, just like with Bloodline, I want to get that on Audible and listen to it and see how they do it. I want to get Master and Apprentice on Audible and hear how they do that. but just outstanding. Another one, I guess I would still say, there's another book by her I like even more, but it's right up there, Master and Apprentice.
Very good, very good. Great book. Like I said, that was my number 4. That not necessarily sliding the book. I really enjoyed it. It's kind of hard to any of my top 5 could switch spaces at any time. I mean, they're all that great. For me, my number 2, I'm actually journeying back in time. I'm going back to the Legends line. And I'm actually going with Heir to the Empire, the very first book in the original Thrawn trilogy by Timothy Zahn, the book that introduced us to Grand Admiral Thrawn. It was just to me, it's still one of my. I have read that book more times. That whole trilogy. I've read that whole trilogy more times than any other Star Wars book or any other. I think the closest book that comes to as many times as I've read it has been, like Chronicles of Narnia. I love that series too. But this trilogy, that Thrawn trilogy, but especially Heir of the Empire, is phenomenal. It's because I grew up overseas. I didn't even know they were writing these books at that time. And I just happened to be in a grocery store in South America where the primary language is Spanish, in the grocery store, and there sitting on the shelf is an English copy of Heir to the Empire. And I'm going, what in the blue blazes is this? Which was ironic because the cover is blue. And I was like, I was flabbergasted because it was Star Wars. So I picked it up and I'm like, I begged and pleaded and finally convinced my dad ended up getting it for me. I begged and pleaded and they got it for me and I took it home and I read it cover to cover. And then as I got to the end, I realized, oh snap, there's more books like this. This is to be continued. The story's not over. And ended up getting able to secure copies of the last 2, but it was just incredible that it never crossed my mind that the story would continue after Return of the Jedi until I read that book. And that's the book that opened my mind to so many more stories post Return of the Jedi. And to me, it was perfect. It was a perfect opening to a new world, essentially. So that's why I love Heir to the Empire.
Well said, man. And that's an example, and you and I have talked about it on previous podcasts, that I think that came out in 1992. Is that right?
I think so. I'd have to double check that.
Right. There was like what all Star Wars fans call the dark times after Jedi.
Yeah. And
you go into the mid 80s, into the early 90s, and then this thing comes out and, and I just, just like with you, like with Dark Disciple, this was a classic example of where all 3 of these Timothy Zahn novels come out right as I'm starting my work on my master's degree and my doctorate. And everything I was reading from morning till night was, for classes, all psychology based. And, it just, people who've done it, it just dominated all my time. And I remember getting out and then hearing about all these things. And I was like, gosh, just missed out on all of the EU in essence, the legends. And, but this is one that's on the list. I've got to go through all 3 of those Heir to the Empire books.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely. You got to try them. You at least got to give them a once over, because even though they aren't quote unquote canon anymore, the story is incredible, and it is, it's just so good. And it's one, and this is, to me, isn't spoiling it, but Leia has, in these stories, there's a great subplot with Leia having to deal with being the daughter of Vader.
Oh wow! Okay,
it ends up playing that subplot of her having to deal with being Vader's daughter ends up being pivotal in the resolution of the trilogy.
Whoa! Okay. Nice tease, brother.
Definitely you want to check it out. So,
nice.
All right. So we got our top book left, and we have our honorable mentions. So before we wrap up, we are going to take one more quick break, and we will be right back to let you know what our number ones are. Welcome back, everybody. Aaron and David here. We are continuing our discussion on our favorite novels, whether they're in canon or expanded universe, aka legends. It doesn't matter. We are discussing our favorite books. We've gone through our top 4 already, starting at 5, counting down, and we just have a few left. But before we get to our number ones, which actually I just realized I already revealed my number one, but it don't matter. I'll reveal it again. Let's go through our honorable mentions. David, what kind of honorable mentions do you have when it comes to your top books?
Oh, sure. And again, as I started, making this list of honorable mentions, I'm like you said, they're interchangeable. A lot of these could be in my top 5, quite honestly. There are a number of books I'm looking at on my shelf here that they're not interchangeable, like top 5 and honorable mention. But like, for example, I have Light of the Jedi. You and I have talked about this, not on a podcast per se, but in depth, but just really enjoyed that, like you said. Great kickoff to the whole High Republic endeavor. And so I agree, after reading Charles Soule's comic work, seeing his work within this, within a novel was outstanding. Here's one, Dooku Jedi Lost. Now, that was originally an audio drama, but they did put it in book form. And they do have it listed, in the novels in Del Rey when you open it up. And they set it just before Master and Apprentice. And I'll tell you this, Dooku Jedi Lost and Master and Apprentice, I really love how those really flesh out that time, before the Phantom Menace. And so just highly recommend that by Kevin Scott. When you and I were just talking about Dark Disciple by Christy Golden, I realized, oh my gosh, Battlefront 2 Inferno Squad by Christy Golden. I came to Lakeland, and you and I were going to go to a con there. I was able to go. I was trying to remember what happened. Something came up, but I was there. You had texted me a question to ask her. She did a Q&A. I said, this is from my buddy Aaron, and I asked her. And but I got a chance when she was signing, all these different authors. She was at, for some reason, just a low number of people. I got to sit there, and she gave me about 40 to 45 minutes to be able to talk to her. And she gave me all kinds of insight and thoughts on Battlefront 2 Inferno Squad with Iden Versio and so on. And I told her, she did such an incredible job with a novel as a novel's case, but as it flows into the video game. And I love her work. Obviously, Dark Disciple is in my top 5. This could be right there too, Battlefront 2 Inferno Squad. The other honorable mention, and again, it's probably going to, go up, is Victory's Price. And I don't think it's because of recency, because I've read Alphabet Squad and I've read Shadowfall, and now this Victory's Price is shaping up, and you mentioned it a minute ago. It's shaping up, and I'm feeling it as a real great ending to a trilogy of books. And so I have that as honorable mention right now as well. So Battlefront 2 Inferno Squad, Dooku Jedi Lost, Light of the Jedi, and Victory's Price.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I got a long list of honorable mentions. Some of them you actually mentioned already. Victory's Price was amongst my honorable mentions. It was just a great book. Thrawn Alliances. I loved Thrawn Alliances. That's the one where he teams up with Vader and goes on a mission, which was tremendous book. Chaos Rising, Thrawn Ascendancy, Chaos Rising, the first book in that trilogy was awesome. If you see a pattern here, I love Thrawn too. He's my third favorite character. The Ahsoka novel was outstanding. Then I got, those were all, of course, all the new canon novels, but then I got several Legends books, two of my honorable mentions. The Kenobi book by John Jackson Miller. Oh, loved it. Incredible book. John Jackson Miller also did a series of short stories that they compiled into one big book called Lost Tribe of the Sith. Those were incredible stories. Oh my gosh. I mean, you talk about a series of stories that just deal with the dark side. That's it, man. That was a tremendous collection of stories. And then I got a book called Dark Apprentice. It's actually the second book in a trilogy called the Jedi Academy trilogy by Kevin J. Anderson. And it's basically and it's exactly what it sounds like. It is the story of Luke and Luke starting up his Jedi Academy, and some of his students at the Academy, including Mara Jade. Which is a fan favorite for everybody. So it's a great book. And of course, Dark Apprentice is the second book. And just like every Star Wars trilogy, what happens in the second story? Empire Strikes Back, Attack of the Clones. It turns dark. Things go bad, and things go bad in that book for Luke. And it just is a tremendous story. It's a great book. I love it. It's just there's just so much action and so much going on in the book and in that whole trilogy as a whole. I mean, I could easily substitute that for like any book in that trilogy. I could just say the whole trilogy, but that would kind of be cheating. But definitely Dark Apprentice is a must. I loved it. So,
well,
all right.
I'll say this, and I'd mentioned to you when I was looking at your list, you and I did them separately, and I put them in our notes, and you did too. But that Kenobi one, like you mentioned, I've heard a lot of Star Wars fans argue, hey, that they would love to see that as actual canon. Plagueis, I mentioned that to you. I think maybe you and I were texting yesterday or last week or something, and there's another one, Plagueis, that I hear such good stuff about. Lost Tribe of the Sith by John Jackson Miller. You put that in there, and I've heard some other people talking about that as well, and it sounds like he does a bang up job on that. So there's are some examples that when you put those in there between Lost Tribe of the Sith, Kenobi, Plagueis, I very much want to read those. Same thing with Heir to the Empire, that trilogy. So those are those Legends books that I very much want to get through. What has prevented that is just the onslaught of new material, and especially with High Republic too. I will say this too. When you mentioned Thrawn Alliances, I'm looking over and I have all three of those of that trilogy: Thrawn Alliances, Thrawn Treason. Completely agree with you. I enjoy Thrawn Alliances more than either one. And that team up with Vader, Anakin, and that, it's really outstanding. So I'm glad you brought that up. So, but yeah, all the ones you listed, how can you go wrong?
Oh, exactly. And just to give you a time reference for this Lost Tribe of the Sith, it's actually set 5,000 years before the Battle of Yavin.
Wow.
So it goes further back in time, before even the High Republic.
Yeah.
So it's just an incredible story. It's very dark and very sinister. It's just so good.
Nice.
So, all right. So those were our honorable mentions, and let's get to our number one books. As I said earlier in the show, when you gave us your number 5 book, which happened to be my number 1 book, New Dawn is my number 1. That's of course the Journey to Star Wars Rebels book, as I put it, with the intro to Kanan and Hera and how they got together. Great book. What is your number 1, David?
Yeah, again, Claudia Gray. It's been my number 1 for a long time. It came out in 2015, right when, kind of like a New Dawn did and this did. And it stayed number 1 for me. it's Lost Stars. Sienna Ree and Thane Kyrell, and you see their relationship as it spans quite a long period of time. And I would argue, in my opinion, her work, Claudia Gray's work in Lost Stars, is even better than in Master and Apprentice, Bloodline. I hear other people, including Danzy, talk about Claudia Gray's, Princess, Leia, Princess of Alderaan, right? She did that book as well. I have not read that, but I hear great stuff about that. So I would say, Lost Stars is the top. And I've even read Into the Dark, her High Republic YA novel, right? I guess that would be technically YA, that one. But I'd say Lost Stars, number one. I don't know about Master and Apprentice or Bloodline, which one's better, but Lost Stars, it was just a page turner, and I just thought she just interwove stuff that we knew so well, and of course, we know that I grabbed the book out, before you and I started recording. We see this Star Destroyer coming down. I believe that's the Inflictor, right? And it's the one that we see Rey at the beginning of The Force Awakens. She's riding her speeder past that, right? Isn't that it? I believe that's it. That beautiful scene as she leaves a Star Destroyer, and she's, you see one in the background, and she's on her speeder, and you can see it back there. That beautiful, beautiful shot of the Star Destroyer buried in the sand. But am I right on that? I believe that's the Inflictor. I believe. I
think I heard that somewhere. I know I heard that somewhere. I can't say for sure. But I do have to confess, I haven't read that one either.
Okay.
Here's your moral dilemma. Which one should I read first? Dark Disciple and Lost Stars.
Ooh, well, Lost Stars is number one. It is number one for me in all these. I would do Lost Stars, buddy. But Dark Disciple's right there. It's right. Dark Disciple's number 4 for me. Lost Stars is number 1. I've got to be consistent in my ranking. I would say Lost Stars, and you'll see why as you go through it. You'll be like, holy mackerel, she is so good.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So there we go. There is our favorite books, novels, whether canon or expanded universe. Let us know what you think. Did we come close to what your list would be? Did we miss anything that was on your list? Let us know. You can hit us up, of course, on any of our social media accounts, Star Wars Reactions on Facebook, SW Reactions Pod on Twitter, or SW Reactions there on Instagram. Then we also have, of course, the website, StarWarsReactions.com, or you can email us, show@StarWarsReactions.com, and let us know what we missed, or what you like that we didn't mention. Let us know what your top books are. Definitely thanks to Streaming with the Mouse, and of course Rural Farm Boy for letting us know their picks. We appreciate that. David, if somebody wants to talk Star Wars books or just Star Wars in general with you, how would somebody go about doing that?
Oh yeah, 2 different ways. One is on Twitter. It's never changed. It's at David_Modders, MODDERS. And then the email that you wonderfully have set up is David@StarWarsReactions.com.
Very cool. Very cool. And if you want to talk the books or just Star Wars with me in general, the best way to do that, of course, is Twitter @TAHarris121079. Or, of course, you can always email me, Aaron@StarWarsReactions.com. We got a lot of great things, and I do want to take a minute. I told you, we talked at the beginning of the episode, everything that I had going on this past week and how busy it's been. Like I said, I want to thank everybody for for sending their support and everything, and through messages and stuff, and I appreciate that. I do want to also apologize because I have been so busy and things were so hectic this past week. I missed posting our Fan Film Friday this past week, which I had a great one all picked out too. So I missed posting that because I was out of town, didn't have my laptop or the ability to post anything. Also, I did not get anything set up, so I missed Trading Card Tuesdays as well. So I want to apologize for that. Things are hopefully getting back to normal now, so we'll see those starting back up next week. So we appreciate all your support. Thank you for everything. David, my friend, this has been fun as always, buddy.
Absolutely, bud. And you going to see your grandmother, as you and I've always said on this podcast, our family takes precedence, and you did the right thing, and you got up there, and right, we'll get the Trading Card Tuesday and the Fan Film Friday stuff up there, and but I appreciate you doing all that. But hopefully, what people see in us is we value our listeners, and we value our family, and we show it.
We definitely do, and we, like David said, we appreciate each and every one of you who listen in and support us. Y'all are awesome. We appreciate you. We pray for y'all daily. Wish y'all the best. Thank y'all so much for listening. Thank you for listening to Star Wars Reactions. We appreciate it. Remember, this is your place for elegant discussion for a more civilized age.
If you'd like to share your thoughts, you can email us at show@starwarsreactions.com for our show notes and the latest news from the Star Wars universe. Visit our website at www.starwarsreactions.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at SWReactionsPod or on Facebook at Star Wars Reactions. If you enjoy our show, please leave a review on iTunes. This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or by Lucasfilm Limited. It's intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars. All names, sounds, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and the respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Star Wars Reactions unless otherwise indicated. Star Wars Reactions. Elegant discussion for a more civilized age.